Wow, you really dove deep on this Ben Franklin request. Biography excerpts, quotes, you even sent over his list of 13 virtues.
Someone's looking to unlock the secrets to a good life.
Exactly. And what better guide than good old Ben Franklin, right?
See, he's not just a historical figure. It's almost like, having a life coach from the past.
Totally. So that's our mission for this deep dive, sifting through all this Franklin wisdom and seeing how it applies to your life today.
His insights are surprisingly relevant, even centuries later. They offer almost like a blueprint for a good life.
Okay, let's jump in. One of Franklin's quotes that really resonated with me is, "Dost thou love life? Then do not squander time, for that's the stuff life is made of."
Classic Franklin.
Yeah.
He knew time was the ultimate resource.
Yeah.
But what's fascinating is he didn't just talk about time management. He actually calculated the monetary value of his own time.
So he wasn't messing around. He really walked the walk.
Exactly. And that leads us to another famous Franklin saying, "A penny saved is a penny earned." But it goes deeper than just frugality.
Right, because he was also a pretty savvy businessman, right?
Oh, absolutely. A penny saved is a penny earned could be the motto of any entrepreneur reinvesting profits. Franklin understood compound interest in finances and in life. Small, consistent efforts over time, they add up.
That's powerful stuff, especially for someone like you, driven to achieve those big goals. So how do we apply this compound interest thinking beyond finances?
Well, look at Franklin's approach to self-improvement, his famous 13 virtues. It might seem a bit daunting at first. Temperance, silence, order, resolution, frugality, industry, sincerity, justice, moderation, cleanliness, tranquility, chastity, and humility.
13. Phew, okay.
Right? But the beauty is, he didn't try to master them all at once. He focused on one per week, tracked his progress, like compound interest for your character.
So instead of being overwhelmed by this huge list, we pick one, like resolution, for example, and try to really work on that in our lives.
Exactly. In today's world, so many distractions, being able to make a decision and stick to it, that's key for reaching any goal.
Makes those virtues feel much more manageable. Now, which one do you think would be most helpful for our listener, knowing their busy life and everything?
Good question. Based on what you've shared, industry seems relevant. Not just working hard, but being focused with your energy. That ties back to Franklin's idea of maximizing time.
Combining industry with resolution, powerful combo. Not just busy, but actually productive.
Exactly. And I think tranquility is essential too. In our fast-paced world, finding those moments of calm, managing stress, that's vital for clear thinking.
Especially in today's always connected world, so much information coming at us, having that inner peace is key.
He even warned against letting trifles, like little annoyances, disturb your peace. It's about choosing your battles.
So relevant for anyone feeling overwhelmed. Now, one virtue that stands out to me, especially these days, is humility. What are your thoughts?
Franklin summed up humility with a rather interesting quote, "Imitate Jesus and Socrates."
Wow, that's a pairing. What do you think he meant?
Both figures, despite their differences, embodied humility, commitment to truth, willingness to learn. They listened more than they spoke, acknowledged what they didn't know.
In today's world, everyone's got an opinion and a platform. That kind of humility feels more important than ever.
Absolutely. It's realizing we don't have all the answers, that we can always learn from others, listening even when we disagree, being open to changing our minds.
It's like Franklin's giving us a masterclass in navigating tough conversations. How do we actually practice this Franklinian humility?
Starts with self-awareness, knowing your own biases, questioning assumptions. From there, it's active listening, not just waiting to respond, but trying to understand.
It's not about silencing different opinions, it's engaging with them to foster growth.
Exactly. And this circles back to industry, not just working hard on external tasks, but on ourselves, our character, our ability to connect.
Investing in personal growth, which, as Franklin would say, pays the best interest.
Exactly. Speaking of investing, let's shift gears a bit. Franklin's belief in a structured routine, the whole early to bed, early to rise idea.
Makes me think about building good habits. What are your thoughts on that?
Maybe we don't need his exact sleep schedule, but the principle is valuable. A structured routine, prioritizing tasks, minimizing distractions, that's key for progress.
And not just work, but also making time for exercise, reflection, loved ones, designing a life that supports your well-being.
Exactly. Franklin believed in a balanced life, hard work, but also leisure, learning, service to others.
Sounds like he was a master at integrating all those different pieces.
He was. And it comes back to industry, not just mindless busyness, but focusing your energy on what matters.
So, for someone as driven as you, how do you stay focused? Make sure you're spending energy on the right things. What's your secret?
Well, for me, regularly revisiting my goals and values. It's like a compass. And sometimes it means saying no to things, even if they're interesting, if they don't align with my priorities.
Being intentional. Which brings us to another Franklin quote: "An investment in knowledge pays the best interest."
The lifelong learner. He was a voracious reader, self-taught in many areas, believed in knowledge to better himself and the world.
And he didn't just hoard information, he was always looking to apply it, solve problems, innovate, make a difference.
A true believer in practical knowledge, taught himself languages, founded clubs for discussion, established libraries, always experimented.
He embodied knowledge is power. But for someone as knowledgeable as you, how do you stay motivated to keep learning?
Curiosity is key. Staying open to new ideas, exploring different viewpoints, learning from anyone, regardless of their background.
It's a lifelong journey, always something new to discover.
Exactly. Doesn't have to be formal education. Could be a book, a workshop, a conversation, just observing the world with a curious mind.
Sounds like you're echoing Franklin's approach to life. Always learning, growing, seeking to make a positive impact.
Precisely. Which leads us to another aspect of Franklin's legacy, his deep belief in community and collaboration.
You're talking about his quote, "We must indeed all hang together, or assuredly we shall all hang separately."
Yeah, and while that was rooted in a historical context, it speaks to a larger truth. We're stronger together.
He understood the interconnectedness of society, how important it is to work together.
He was amazing at bringing people together, building coalitions, fostering collaboration. He saw the value in diverse thoughts, in collective action.
Not just politics, he was deeply involved in his community, founding organizations, supporting initiatives, bringing people from all walks of life together.
Exactly. Something we can all learn from, especially in today's world, which, let's face it, can feel pretty divided at times.
So for someone like you, so passionate about making a difference, how do you approach building community and collaboration?
It starts with being present and engaged. Whether it's your neighborhood, your work, even online. Listening to different viewpoints, finding common ground, working towards shared goals.
So it's about actively participating, not just observing.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be huge gestures. It could be volunteering, mentoring, just being a good neighbor.
Recognizing we all have something to offer. Even small acts of kindness and collaboration can ripple outwards.
Precisely. And that brings us to another fascinating side of Franklin. His inventive spirit. He was so much more than just the guy on the $100 bill.
Right. We all know about the bifocals. But he's a serious inventor. What else did he create? And what can we learn from his problem-solving approach?
Well, besides bifocals, there's the lightning rod, the Franklin stove, a better chimney design, even swim fins. The guy was brilliant.
A one-man renaissance. But I'm really interested in his process. How did he approach those problems? What was the secret?
He was so observant, always asking questions, never afraid to experiment. A true scientist at heart.
Take the lightning rod, for example. Not just a gadget, but a groundbreaking invention. Changed how people thought about electricity, about safety.
Absolutely. Before Franklin, lightning was this mysterious, terrifying force. He figured out how to harness it, and he protect people from it. A huge leap forward.
And it all came from his curiosity and his willingness to challenge what everyone thought they knew.
Exactly. He wasn't content with good enough. Always looking to improve things, make it more efficient, safer, or just more fun.
He was living that growth mindset way before it was cool.
He was. And that's a lesson for all of us. Approaching challenges with curiosity, seeking creative solutions, thinking outside the box.
Embracing that Franklinian spirit of innovation.
Yeah.
Seeing problems as opportunities to learn and grow.
Exactly. And speaking of growth, let's talk about another part of Franklin's philosophy. His ideas about generosity and leaving a positive impact.
He had a lot to say about making the world a better place. What can we learn from his approach to giving back?
One of his most thought-provoking quotes is, "The noblest question in the world is, what good may I do in it?"
Gets right to the heart of it. He believed in using his talents and resources to make a real difference, to leave a legacy that outlasts him.
And it wasn't just about grand gestures or big donations. Countless community projects helping to found hospitals and libraries, always looking to improve lives.
A true philanthropist through and through.
He was. And what's inspiring is that he didn't wait until he was rich and famous. Started early when he had little and continued throughout his life.
Generosity wasn't just about money for him, it was a mindset.
Exactly. And that's a powerful message for all of us. Regardless of our financial situation, we can all find ways to be generous with our time, our talents, our resources.
So how do you, someone who's clearly passionate about this, how do you incorporate generosity into your daily life?
For me, it starts with being aware of the needs of others, being willing to help, to listen, to offer a kind word, recognizing that even small acts can make a difference.
Making generosity a habit, a part of who we are.
Right. And it connects back to his belief in community. When we give back, we're not just helping individuals, we're strengthening society as a whole.
It's like weaving a tapestry of kindness, one thread at a time.
I love that. Speaking of beautiful things, those 13 virtues are packed with wisdom.
Like little nuggets of gold waiting to be discovered.
Exactly. I think it's time we took a closer look at each one to see how they can help us navigate today's world.
I'm in. Let's dive back into that list and explore those Franklinian virtues.
Let's do it. Who knows what gems we'll uncover? Okay, those 13 virtues. Let's break them down. Temperance. Not just about avoiding alcohol, it's about moderation in everything. Like eating, but not stuffing yourself silly.
Finding that balance, right? Which, let's face it, in today's world of more is more, can be tough.
It's almost countercultural. Then we have silence. Don't worry, not advocating for total silence,
Yee!
but speaking thoughtfully, avoiding gossip or just pointless chatter.
In the age of constant communication, silence as a tool for reflection, for making those connections deeper, it's powerful.
Totally. And then there's order. Might sound boring, but it's about organizing your life, both physically and mentally.
I'm all about that. Having a routine, a structure, helps me feel grounded, like I can actually get things done.
Goes back to Franklin's time management thing, right? Order helps you make the most of it. Then resolution. We touched on this one earlier.
Making decisions and sticking to them, yeah. Keeping those commitments.
So important in a world of endless choices. Helps you stay focused on your goals. Builds that inner strength.
Like being the captain of your own ship, right? Charting your course. Then we've got frugality. Another big one for Franklin.
Living within your means, being mindful of your spending, not getting trapped in debt.
It's not about deprivation, though. It's more like being smart with what you have, finding those creative solutions.
Making choices that align with your values. All right, next up, industry. Classic Franklin.
Hard work, dedication, making each day count.
But not just working yourself to the bone, it's about working smart. Choosing activities that are meaningful, that actually move you forward.
It's like being intentional with your effort. Then we've got sincerity. Seems obvious, but it's more than just not lying, right?
It's deeper. Being genuine, authentic, building trust through honesty.
In a world where so much is about image, being sincere, being real, that stands out.
For sure. Okay, next one, justice. Big concept, but boils down to fairness. Doing what's right, even when it's tough.
Standing up for what you believe in, speaking out for those who need it, working towards a better world.
Recognizing that we're all connected, that our actions impact others. All right, moderation. Similar to temperance, finding that balance.
Avoiding those extremes. Self-control, not too much, not too little.
Goldilocks zone. Then we've got cleanliness. Now this one might seem a bit surface level, but
it's not just about showering, right? It's about creating a clean space for yourself, physically and mentally.
Decluttering, simplifying, creating a sense of order. After cleanliness comes tranquility. We talked about that one.
Cultivating inner peace, not sweating the small stuff.
Building resilience. Then there's chastity. Now this one, in Franklin's time, meant something pretty specific.
But maybe we can think of it more broadly, like being aware of your desires, making sure they align with your values.
Being intentional with your actions, avoiding choices that could hurt yourself or others. And finally, humility. That cornerstone of Franklin's thinking.
Knowing you don't know everything, being open to learning, to being wrong, approaching life with curiosity.
Exactly. Always striving to grow, to be better.
Looking at this whole list, it's pretty amazing how relevant these virtues still are today.
I know, right? Like, he created a guidebook for living a good life, and you didn't just talk about it, he actually worked on these virtues in his own life.
He walked the walk.
That's what
true role model. It shows us that personal growth. It's a journey. And we can all be on that path.
Absolutely. Which brings us back to the heart of it all. How do we actually apply this wisdom to our lives?
Yeah, it's one thing to admire Franklin, but how do we take those ideas and make them real?
Great question. I think one key takeaway is Franklin's focus on action. He didn't just sit around thinking. He went out and did things, put those ideas into practice.
He believed in knowledge is power, but only if you use it.
Exactly. So how do we take all this wisdom and turn it into action? Make it part of our own lives?
What's the first step?
I think it's about picking one specific area, one virtue to focus on, one challenge to overcome. Set a clear goal.
Make a plan. Take that first step, even if it's small.
Build momentum. Channel that Franklinian industry.
Remember, small, consistent efforts, they add up over time.
And don't forget to have fun along the way. Franklin was known for his wit, his sense of humor.
Yeah,
I think he'd want us to approach this with joy.
totally. It's not about being perfect. It's about enjoying the process, learning, growing.
And maybe even inspiring others to do the same.
Now, wouldn't that be the best way to honor the legacy of Ben Franklin? Thinking about all this, it really strikes me how Franklin's approach to life was so well connected. He saw all these different pieces, time, virtue, community, like they all fit together.
Yeah, it's like he had this big picture view. True success wasn't just about money or fame. It was about purpose, contributing, growing.
And it wasn't separate categories for him. His frugality, it wasn't justy about saving money. It was also tied to industry, to moderation.
It all worked together. Community service, that flowed from his belief in collaboration, in working together, like a really integrated vision for a good life.
It's pretty inspiring. It shows us we don't have to choose between personal success and making a difference. We can do both.
Absolutely. I think that's a huge takeaway from Franklin. You can achieve amazing things, but still stay grounded in your values, committed to serving others.
And speaking of achieving things, can we circle back to his inventive side? We talked about it a bit, but what drove him to constantly be creating, innovating?
Besides just being curious, I think he really wanted to solve problems, make the world better. He wasn't satisfied with, that's just how it is.
Like with the Franklin stove, that wasn't just some fancy fireplace. It really changed things, made homes warmer, safer, used less wood.
Exactly. He saw a problem in efficient fireplaces and boom, he created a solution. And it wasn't just about being clever, it was about improving lives.
That's what I find so cool about him. His inventions weren't just gadgets, they were answers to real problems.
And he wasn't limited to physical inventions either. He was a social innovator too. Institutions, organizations, systems to benefit everyone.
A true visionary. He saw the potential and he wasn't afraid to make it real.
And it takes us back to that industry. Not just working hard, but putting your energy towards something meaningful. That's gonna last.
It's about leaving things better than you found them, making a difference.
Exactly. And that's Franklin's legacy in a nutshell. One person with enough curiosity, enough drive, and a big heart that can change the world.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Ben Franklin, I want to leave our listener with something to think about. What's one thing inspired by Franklin that you can do today to reach your goals, to have a positive impact, to just become a little bit better?
That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think each of us has that answer within. Franklin shows us what humans are capable of. That potential for greatness, for kindness, for leaving a mark on the world.
It's been great exploring all this with you, and I hope our listener is feeling inspired, maybe got some new ideas to try out.
Me too. And hey, remember what Franklin said? Lost time is never found again. So let's make the most of it. Live lives that would make old Ben proud.
Thanks for joining us on this journey. Until next time.